the ancestors and the elders. And let's go. Let's stir this big old pot. We got a lot to talk about, okay? It's a Talking Point Tuesday, and we're on our mission for Talking Point Tuesday. The way we usually do it on a Tuesday. Hour one, we look local, what's happening on the left coast, local side of things, as we broadcast from Leimert Park, Africatown, USA. After hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive of some kind, a person of interest, a hot topic, or some combo thereof. And we are right on point today. So right now, it's me, you, and this microphone, telephone, right, doing our thing. And you are invited in at 800-920-1580. You are invited in at 1580 KBLA, actually KBLA 1580 on YouTube, where we stream, where the comments are rather lively. And there's a whole comment community going on. And you are invited in, of course, the old-fashioned way on the terrestrial radio. But hopefully you do have the app, because with the app you can listen and you can be anywhere in the world pretty much. And there you will hear KBLA clear as a bell. I've done it in Africa. You can too. Or even, the far regions of Los Angeles, because this is a big old place. Anyway, yeah, tap in on the app. All of these things make us stronger. I always love to hear from you online. All of our social medias at KBLA 1580. Mine is at diprimaradio, DIPRIMA, and then radio if you want to get on or you have an idea. I love when you share guest proposals. So many people stepped up with ideas for Freedman Friday, and a couple of them we've already implemented. So if you have a reparations guest or someone you would love to hear now, please understand that a lot of the people y'all want on, we want Superman, or, can you get Oprah? They may or may not respond to our requests. It's not like a menu at a restaurant where you can just order anybody you want. But we try. We do. It doesn't matter who it is, no matter how big or small. Dear President Putin, we do it. We want them on the show. We try. And we always love your ideas and comments. That can be said on the air or can be said in my DMs. I do check my DMs most frequently on Instagram and Twitter. Why? Because it's easy. Okay. So that's what we're doing around here, and I'm excited because we will be hearing from Enrique Roig. Again, he is a former senior official at USAID, and he can bring us up to date on how some of the changes that we've seen since January 20th are hitting, how they're impacting the world, and what's been rolled back and what's still moving forward, and that should be fascinating. We will talk with conservative commentator Andre Barnes in the spirit of Talking Point Tuesday. I'm going to talk a little bit about immigration, and then we will be joined by our U.S. Senator Alex Padilla, who has just put forth a bill on immigration. So that should be quite the engaging hour. Right now, well, you just got me. You got Miles. You got Amila, our intern. We're all here for you. And there's a lot of stuff, actually, that I've been meaning to get to, but sometimes when I have a partner in politics, or sometimes when you call me, we go with where you lead us, which is why I love to hear from you. What is going on? What is on your mind? All of that stuff, of course, becomes part of our conversation, because that's one of the great things about talk radio. It's not a one-way meme where the meme plays over and over again on your phone and you can comment, but the person is not hearing you in real time. That's why I love live radio, because it's immediate. I've been with LA through so many different crises, and boom, we're connected in real time. Whether it be civil unrest or a fire or an earthquake, it is always in real time, and I love that so much. 800-920-1580 if you got something to say. Got a few things I wanted to go over with you just to get caught up, and also because some interesting stuff is going on. Again, many times when you see cameras turn away from protest, it doesn't mean protest has stopped. It just means there was another story driving the news cycle, and sometimes it's an intentional way of changing the subject. There was a protest in downtown over the weekend, downtown LA. Families First is what they billed it as. It was a lot of union folks, SEIU, Service Employees International, 1983, was the organizer of this, and they were talking about the policies of this administration, the ICE raids and deportations, and also pushing back against the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, which has lots of other more accurate names, including the Big Terrible Bill, and what the impacts of that will be. So it was downtown LA, it was in Riverside, and I'm not sure if there were others across the country, but the protest and pushback continues, which is one of the inspirations for my request that you take a daily pledge with me to be courageous, to be brave, a kind of an oath of fearlessness, if you will. I think we have to do it every day right now. Folks are so quick to be afraid, to back down, to preemptively surrender. We're not doing that. You know, it's in the slogan, we don't black down. But this goes beyond the radio station. This goes to the way we're living our lives in authoritarian times. And I came up with a little slogan for myself. Perhaps you'd like to share it with me. Fearless is the way forward. Fearless is the way forward. Right? So repeat after me. Fearless is the way forward. Okay, I think we did it. It's just about reminding ourselves that people power is the answer to all of these things that sound impossible. Reminds me of Muhammad Ali, one of my favorite Muhammad Ali quotes. He says, impossible is nothing. It's only impossible till we do it, I think, is me paraphrasing Nelson Mandela. So fearlessness is the way forward. Okay, that's my daily PSA / pledge / oath, however you want to take it. And people are being fearless. They're stepping up. They're protesting. They're blocking kidnappings by ICE. They're blocking crazy bills. They're showing up in state houses to speak up, and even at the risk of their own freedom. So we are not alone in choosing courage, and courage is contagious. So let's spread it around. The sheriff's oversight continues to be problematic in LA County. Oversight officials, people that are part of the oversight body, are saying that the sheriff's department won't let them get access to shooting scenes, to crime scenes, which they are supposed to have, because how can you investigate a response if all you're doing is hearing the official story from law enforcement? And this has just been so fraught. We saw, the head of this oversight step down after being bullied. Was that about 6 weeks ago? Now the Inspector General's office sent a letter in June to the Board of Supervisors saying they've been blocked from scenes of shootings by deputies. They're being blocked from investigating firsthand deaths in county jails, and there's been quite a few of them this year. The Inspector General, Max Huntsman, seems like he's in a constant battle with one sheriff or another. And I thought it was going to get much better when we got rid of Mini-Me MAGA dude, Alex Villanueva, but it seems that the obstruction continues under Sheriff Luna, despite having better rhetoric and not sounding as terrible, despite making lots of promises. The Inspector General's office says they are still being blocked. And this is a body that was created at the behest of voters because we have some issues in our sheriff's department. right? The guy was 3 sheriffs ago, went to jail, went to prison, okay? And many of his top lieutenants, some who are still in the department, were implicated in covering up the behavior inside the jails from the FBI. I'm not making this up. You can't make this stuff up, right? So we got a sheriff's oversight body led by the inspector general. But according to Huntsman, the sheriff's department continuously blocks them out of what they need to offer meaningful oversight. The sheriff denies this. He says, no, that is not happening. It's only happened one time. So the inspector general is just making this up. That doesn't sound credible, especially given the sheriff's history of obstruction. I mean, that is what the former sheriff went to jail for. And that is what has famously happened with the so-called gangs, the so-called cliques. They want to call them cliques. Not sure what the gangs are freely showing the inspector general. They always deny that they exist, or in the case of Luna, he says they exist, but he's doing everything he can to get rid of them, but yet they continue, and there's no teeth behind these proclamations. They still didn't have to prove they didn't have tattoos. They still are being given the benefit of the doubt. So transparency has not been their strong suit ever. And so you're expecting us to believe that, yes, he's had plenty of access, no problem. Sure, the inspector general was given full access every time except once. I call BS. It is literally the same thing that sent Sheriff Lee Baca to prison. Obstruction, keeping out oversight, in that case by the FBI, in this case by LA County Sheriff's Civilian Oversight Commission. Okay, Sheriff Luna is saying that his department will now have a process in place to ensure what he calls a little more oversight. Is that like a little more pregnant? Either we have oversight or we don't. And it's going to be interesting because we have a new sheriff's race coming up. There are Alex Villanueva, little Mr. MAGA, Mini MAGA, is running, wants his seat back. Please, let's not do that. And there are others that are teeing up to be in this race. So Luna will not go unchallenged. He'll be challenged on the left and on the right. Hopefully that doesn't mean we end up with the right. But these issues, these serious issues, must drive the conversation. They must drive the conversation. If we don't demand the oversight that we voted for, then nothing will ever change. Love to hear from you on this or anything else on your mind. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Change in policy for charter schools, throwing the book at some workers that tried to stop ICE agents from dragging away a colleague. And there's a lot more to talk about. Love to hear from you. 800-920-1580. We're unapologetically outspoken, unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-550-9651.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we aim to foster enlightening, sustainable, restorative dialogue, and we welcome unapologetically progressive viewpoints that empower fellow citizens. We are now accepting submissions for KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorials like this one.
For the KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Recently, I listened to a Tavis Smiley Show conversation with James Farr. James said something that caught me off guard. Black Altadena is gone. My community is being murdered. I said murdered.
All you have to do is go to our website homepage at KBLA1580.com and click on the icon that says KBLA Guest Editorials to learn more about our editorial standards and content submission guidelines. As long as the topic aligns with our mission, we are happy to review your submission and consider it for broadcast. We can't make any promises, but we want to amplify progressive perspectives that are community-focused and solution-oriented. So, go to KBLA1580.com right now to download all the information you need about our guest editorials. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Okay, so, I started off hot. I feel you. 800-920-1580 started off hot. Got to do that sometimes because there's a lot going on that requires it. Here's a little palate refresher for you. You see the UC system admitting more Californians than ever, which is good news because those schools are sought after. We want to go to school in California if we're from California, but they make more money off of out-of-state and foreign students. So sometimes we are not the first priority. So good to see that happening. 100,947 first-year California students getting in. That's 7% more than last year. It's a good trend. 17% more undergrad international students. But interestingly, they're not getting into UCLA and UC Berkeley. Interestingly, but not surprisingly, those are the ones that everyone wants to go to, and they're still not taking very many first-year students from California. One second part of this that I would consider a palate cleanser, something to celebrate, is that UC, the system-wide, is increasing the number of racial groups and ethnic diversity, whatever you want to call it. The ethnic mix is increasing, which is really good because I remember right after we ended affirmative action, it dropped and, Proposition 209, and we're still trying to come back from that. But UC has gotten innovative in looking at the whole student, and it seems to help. One of those formulas is admitting the top students at most California high schools. So if you're in the top tier of your high school, you can get into a UC. Now, it might not be the UC of your choice, but you can get in, and a more whole person admissions application system seems to be working because there are increases in every ethnic group, including Black people, Latinos, even Native American, indigenous folks who tend to be the least represented in everything. And the category of unknown, whatever that is. I guess that's your option. You can write unknown. Latino is still the biggest group for the 6th year in a row, but that makes sense. We're in California. There's a huge Latino population, and most of them are going to Merced or Riverside. Asian Americans leading on every other campus. Black students still just at 6%, which ain't great, but it's an improvement, believe it or not, from where we were right after affirmative action. So it'll be worth tracking whether this holds up under the current administration, because the results we're seeing right now come from applications that went in before this anti-DEI frenzy, which, by the way, is not the law of the land. It's just the law of the executive order BS in which we currently live. So that was my something to hold on to, something to support, something to build on report, maybe. Really sad to hear that this gunman in New York City, who, killed several people in New York, was from Los Angeles. Killed 4 people in Midtown Manhattan yesterday. Turns out the gunman appears to be a football player from LA. Went to Grenada Hills Charter School in LA County, was actually a standout on the field as a football player. Now at 27, he's been identified looking at ABC7 as Shane Tamura. And it's, of course, the friends and teammates of this young man are saying he seemed like a great guy, was a wonderful teammate, never seemed to have any behavioral issues. He had an M4 assault rifle and some body armor when he was in New York, shot and killed 4 people, including an off-duty NYPD officer who was working as a security guard, and himself. He was found dead. They think he killed himself. The other thing, the LAPD put out a statement about this saying that they're aware that there are rumors that he was linked to, well, here's what it says. The Los Angeles Police Department is aware of the online rumors and media inquiries suggesting a possible connection between the individual involved in the recent New York shooting and our department. We take these matters seriously and are actively investigating the information. So that sounds like maybe. The online rumors seem to say that one of this young man's parents was an LAPD officer, but that's not been confirmed as far as I can see by any credible source. Just a terrible, terrible thing, and I hate to hear it. I hate to hear it. It seems like and I don't know anything. I don't know anything that you don't know, anything that I didn't just say about this case. But it seems to me that the level of mental health suffering, people snapping, as reflected through folks becoming houseless, not everybody, of course, but the ones that are in extreme mental health distress, and you see them, just like I see them, to people breaking down in schools, the number of violent incidents, maybe, I haven't looked at data, and again, I caution myself and you, because when there's a slew of something on the news doesn't mean there's more of it, it just means there's more reporting on it. But it feels like a lot of people are snapping, and I wonder if this is partly the unhealed trauma from COVID. And I wonder, what are we as a society, not just here in the U.S., but worldwide, what are we prepared to do about it? It's news, traffic, and sports. And then, as always, you're invited in 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Football legend Deion Sanders says he's now cancer-free after undergoing surgery for bladder cancer. Sanders is urging others to get checked, noting the importance of early detection.
You have no idea how good God has been for me to be here.
Bladder cancer affects more men than women, with smoking as the leading risk factor. The gunman in the deadly 345 Park Avenue shooting left a note blaming football and CTE for his mental health struggles. Shane Tamura killed 4, including an NYPD officer, before taking his own life. The NFL headquarters was among his targets. And July is National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, spotlighting care gaps for Black, Hispanic, and Asian Americans. Dr. Tony Boulware, Stackhouse of Life Matters Wellness, urges culturally competent care to close disparities. Get BIN News Now, on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was a good night for both of LA's baseball teams. The Dodgers secured a 5-2 win at Cincinnati. Shohei Ohtani was busy on the base pass. He drove in 2 runs with a double and scored his 100th run on Freddie Freeman's RBI single. Ohtani leads the major leagues in runs scored. 3 homers helped the Angels beat Texas 6-4. Angels reliever Kelly Jansen pitched a scoreless 9th inning to earn his 19th save. Jansen has not allowed a run in 16 straight appearances. Congratulations to NASCAR race driver Bubba Wallace. On Sunday, Wallace became the first black driver to win a race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, home of the Indy 500. The 31-year-old Wallace won NASCAR's Brickyard 400 Cup race. He was blazing the track in a Toyota Camry XSE. Wallace, a native of Mobile, Alabama, won his first race on the NASCAR circuit since 2021. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, also known as AD, a type of dementia that affects memory, thinking, and behavior, making everyday tasks challenging. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? There are things you can do to help reduce your risk for developing AD. Managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure is crucial. Staying physically active, maintaining social connections, eating a healthy diet, and keeping your mind engaged with activities like reading or puzzles can all contribute to brain health. It's also important to recognize some common signs and symptoms of early AD, such as forgetfulness that causes problems with everyday life, asking the same question a few times in a row, and difficulty concentrating on basic tasks. If you see these signs in yourself or a loved one, don't wait. Early diagnosis and intervention are key to managing AD effectively. To learn more about AD and a potential treatment option, visit treatallzearly.com. That's treatallzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. How come I don't hear anything? My headphones are tripping. Okay, now, glad to see the YouTube comment section is hot like usual. Let's see. The shooting in New York on yesterday, the shooter from Las Vegas. Fearlessness is the way forward. Gotcha, says Molly Bell. Dominique, the inmates have to make the change in the jail, like with protesting and paperwork. That's Carl Tucker. Yeah, well, I know there's several Black Lives Matter chapters inside prison, and we're just on the brink of Black August, which, of course, is celebrating, I guess, if you will, the organizing of prisoners. But we have to do stuff too. We just can't, we are the ones that have votes. For some reason, our system doesn't allow imprisoned people to vote, which I don't agree with, by the way. I'm with Nikki Giovanni. If you're serving your time to society, why should you be disenfranchised of your vote? We need to change that. So, yeah, you're right, Carl. They need to do for themselves, but also we need to be part of that solution. Because particularly when you see a lot of people dying in custody, whether they're beaten or killed somehow by the jailers, the sheriff, or whether it's some other lack of medical care or terrible conditions, the folks on the outside are the ones that have to call attention to that because our voices are louder. Speaking of louder, you can call me at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. So they're saying that COVID is on the rise again in California, that we could see an uptick over the summer. I feel like we hear that every summer. It doesn't feel as dire because now we know how to treat it, but it does gives me pause about going certain places. And those big crowds are those places, because the last time I got COVID, that's what it was, a big crowd. And it's hard because nobody has their mask on. When you go see Beyoncé or Chris Brown or Kendrick, nobody has their mask on, and you feel like a dork if you're the only one there. Plus, you can't get good good content for social media. Man, that sounds shallow. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and get COVID because I need my content. That sounds really shallow, but hey, the truth is the truth, okay? And so just a reminder, it's back. Act accordingly. It never really went anywhere, and I haven't been tracking it as closely as I probably should, but these mutations are pretty terrible, pretty bad. Link says that the young man who I was talking about, who shot the folks allegedly, although I understand, there's videotape, shot the folks in New York, was born in Hawaii. Okay, that could be. I haven't tracked it. It's a pretty new story. But it's always sad to see, and especially a young, African American who had started out their life with such strong promise. You wonder what happened, and I know more will come out. It's just a really tragic story. So I have never used dating apps at all. Never, ever. It's not that I have a moral position against it. I just doesn't feel appropriate to me to be talking on the radio and then looking for a man on a dating app. I know there are special celebrity ones. I don't know that I'm famous enough for those. Anyway, I don't know. I haven't got my mind there yet. I have a bunch of girlfriends who are telling me get over yourself, get on the apps. That's where you get bulk. That's where you find more people. I have another friend who says it makes the most sense if you're trying to find a partner to talk to the people around you, because then you're less likely to get a serial killer, right? Because it's referred by somebody who knows that person. And that's kind of how we partnered up throughout history. It was your family doing an arranged marriage, or someone within your community introducing you to someone else that they knew. And I've got to say, this arrest of this guy, Christopher Lloyd, makes me never want to use dating apps. But I need to put an asterisk here and say that some of my friends have had great results with the apps. One of my girlfriends is happily married. I think they're going on 9 years, and they met on an app. They are such a cute couple. They seem to be very happy together and super well matched. Anyway, this guy, Christopher Lloyd, was on Tinder. And I know that's not the marriage site, but anyway, Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble. And Hinge and Bumble are supposed to be more legit, right? His whole thing was, what, Miles, is it swiping? Which way do you swipe when you like the person?
Right.
Swiping right. He was swiping right. And then conning people. He would sort of, I guess, start talking with them and showing interest. And then he would convince them that he was a financial planner and get them to send him money to invest. And he's now been federally indicted. But he used all of these different websites. And this was going on for 3 years. And he got millions of dollars out of these women.
Pimping.
Oh, yeah. He's more than $2 million. He got
big pimping. Big pimping.
Big pimping. He's looking at 30 years in prison. I mean, for me, the moral of the story is if you go on a dating app, you should stick to dating. Do not find your financial advisor on a dating app. But actually, I have another friend who told me, they used a dating app to market a business. And so not everyone is there for dating, apparently. I mean, you think about the weirdos who, misrepresent themselves. And I think I've told you I had one girlfriend who made a date with a guy on a dating app, and he showed up to her house and he didn't have legs. And he didn't show that. He showed a close-up picture of himself. So she didn't know he didn't have legs until he came to the date. And then she felt like she had to go on a second date because she thought it was too shallow to not go on a second date with a guy just because he didn't have legs. I wouldn't have gone on the second date because of the dishonesty, not because of the legs. That's kind of like catfishing. But anyway, I digress. I say that to say that's what we used to worry about, or what I used to worry about, the serial killers and axe murderers. But apparently you also have to keep your eye out for the financial planners and telemarketers. You're welcome to call me and tell me your success, your app success story. Have you had any success on those apps, Miles?
I would say no. I'm still single, so no, I have not had true success on them apps. I haven't had nobody that had no legs before. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that was pretty extreme. But you've been catfished for sure.
What now?
But you've been catfished for sure.
I think at this point, if you're dating in the dating pool at all, whether you're on an app, whether you're in real life, you've been catfished before.
Yeah.
Well, catfish from Instagram. People catfish from everywhere. Yeah.
But I mean, I know people that have gone on dates, and and I guess Instagram should be considered a dating app now too, because a lot of people, same with Facebook, are dating off those apps. But I know people who have ended up, maybe they're not married. Like my one girlfriend got married off of someone she met on Match.com. They've been married 10 years. Happy couple. But I know others who have met people that turned out to be friends. They ended up getting a bestie or an associate, or there's some kind of business connection that wasn't big pimping. No, none of that for you.
I mean, I don't need when I was using the apps, I wouldn't go into them. I would go into them. No, I don't need any new friends, so I'm not going here looking for new friends. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Got it.
Once it's cut off from whatever it was cut off of, then yeah, there's no need to really stay in touch. I don't believe that's not my stilo.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Kick us a rock.
Wow, look who's on the phone. Miles Lowe. It's Molly Bell, the Queen of Compton, and the chairman of the chat room. Good morning, Queen.
Morning. God bless morning to you, Dominique, Miles, and, of course, everybody in the chat room and those who are listening on the radio, because some of them are at work and they call me and say, I'm still at work, but I'm listening on the radio for those out here close. Dominique, before I was calling before you start talking about the different, some other subject. Remember when Israel first got involved with Gaza? I was on the wrong side. I supported Israel. I thought that Israel, all the things that had happened to them in the Holocaust, how they were, what the Germans did to them, and I thought that they would just be so much kinder. Is it possible that people who have been misused and abused will misuse and abuse other people? Because what's happening in Gaza, my heart hurts for them. I don't even like to see it on TV when they show the people. I mean, the people are hungry.
Yeah, starving.
In this time in which we live, there are people that are hungry, and other people did it. Remember I told you about my joy. The Lord had let me lose my joy. Then when I got it back, I said it wasn't the same, and I could understand why. But anyway, I was just calling in to say that.
Well,
and again,
I mean, Molly Bell, look, I feel what you're saying because it's hard to watch. And then I think, imagine what it's like to live it if it's hard for us to watch. But I think a lot of, well, I won't say a lot, but people get confused because we stand with, Holocaust survivors, and we stand with the rights of Jewish people against Nazis and neo-Nazis. And that's why people are trying to make the distinction between Israeli and Jew, right? Not all Jews are Israelis. And not even all Israelis are Jews, because there are Muslims that live in Israel that are citizens of Israel. Israel is a state, right? And it was established by taking land from the Palestinians back in 1948. Now, generally it's thought that this was done to give the Jewish people a state post-Nazism. But this decision actually predated Nazism. It was part of the, when the Ottoman Empire, I believe, the Turkish Empire controlled that region. And then the British got involved. Now, think about this. And nobody's saying Israel doesn't have a right to exist. Also, Palestine has a right to exist. But think about this. When the world decided, and by the world we're mostly talking Western powers, that the Jewish people needed a state, a place where they could be safe, a homeland that they could call their own, they considered Uganda. They thought about putting Israel in Africa.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes, they did. They decided against it. They decided on Palestine. But why not Europe? I mean, I'm not saying, make them go to Europe. I'm not saying anything like that. But let's think about the mindset that these British, Turkish, and Western powers had when they said, we're going to put these folks over in the Middle East. And we can get into the whole religious thing about, their Holy Land and all that. But when we were talking about creating the state of Israel and displacing the people that were already there. And keep in mind, before 1948, Jewish people did live there and Muslims lived there. It just wasn't an official state. It was more of what we're hoping would come out, which is either a two-state solution or a one-state where everyone has equal rights. And so then you go to 1967, where Israel expanded the amount of territory that they have in that region through a war. And then since that time, they've continuously pushed and pushed for more and more of that territory, including right now where it's not just Gaza, but also the West Bank. And even though they're ruled by two different authorities, they're both made up of Palestinian people. And now Israel, they've continued to push with those communities called settlers, who are, again, taking over Palestinian lands and homes and committing hate crimes there against Palestinians. Nobody is saying that we support Hamas. Nobody is saying that October 7th is good. But just to say October 7th and look at it only in that light instead of going back to 1948 or 1967, it's intellectually dishonest.
Wow. Thank you so very much. What you said relaxed me, understanding it like that. But it just still hurts. I just can't believe the place that my Jesus came from, that they could be that cold-blooded. I just can't. It just seems so unfair. And so when I was watching it, they were showing a little bit. I could multitask.
Yes, I do the same. I do the same, Molly Bell.
So I watched a little bit, and then I just said, how am I supposed to feel when I supported Israel at first? But you gave probably a lot of us answers and helped us. I know in the chat room we probably got some folks who already knew that, and I didn't. So I just thank you, and I keep saying every day that I'm not gonna talk so much in the chat room. Then I said, nah, I'm talking.
We like it when you talk. In the chat room, on the mic, at a protest. And do not let go of that joy, Miss Molly Bell.
I'm trying to. I've never lost my praise, but I've been in and out of. I've been in and out of my joy. All you prayer warriors out there, you know what you've got to do. You've got to keep fasting. You've got to keep praying because the struggle continues. And always, to God be the glory. Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you. And one of the shocking developments of yesterday, the Israeli government says that the images of starving Palestinians are fake. That's what they said over the weekend. A top military officer said they're fake. But President Trump said he believes the pictures are real. He said that's real starvation. And he ordered them to let every bit of food aid in. However, we shall see. I haven't noticed Prime Minister Netanyahu jumping to do everything that our president says to do. He pretty much is doing everything he can to keep his own self out of jail. Molly Bell called 800-920-1580, and I invite you to do the same. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfiresupport@QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Yeah.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
It is most definitely a Talking Point Tuesday, and looking forward to the conversation with Black Republican Andre Barnes next hour, as well as we'll be hearing from U.S. Senator Alex Padilla. And then, of course, we'll speak with the former senior USAID official, Enrique Roig. So we've got a jam-packed show. You're invited in every hour, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. So I had one of those rare moments of agreement with the president on yesterday when he pushed back on Israel and said the images of starving people are not fake. I mean, they're just so widespread. There's so many. There's video. There's still photos. They're coming from multiple different sources as well as social media. So there you have it. I agreed with the president on one thing on yesterday. It's real starvation, and it is a man-made crisis, so we need to fix it. And airdropping food ain't going to cut it. It's expensive. Some of it has been reported to be expired. It hits people. It hits starving people, in some cases killing them. And there are trucks and trucks and trucks, at least 600, according to the BBC, waiting to get in, full of food and precisely the types of supplies like baby formula that are needed. Something I did not agree with the president on yesterday, he called for the prosecution of former Vice President Kamala Harris, along with Oprah Winfrey and Beyoncé and Al Sharpton, because he's saying that these people were paid to endorse Kamala Harris. I don't know why he's still rehashing that, other than maybe he's still trying to get our minds away from the fact that he most likely appears in many different ways in those Epstein files that he is trying to make go away, and they're not going away. Maybe prosecuting Kamala or talking smack about Oprah and Beyoncé will work. I don't think so, but maybe. The crazy thing about these claims, even though they've been denied by Beyoncé and Oprah and Kamala Harris, and there is no receipts, there is no evidence whatsoever that this actually happened. It's just one of those things that the president likes to say. But even if they did take that money, even if they did, it's not illegal. You can pay me to endorse you. You just can't lie about it. You can say, you can pay Miles Lowe $1 million.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, depending on who you are, he might be open to that. You can do it. He's just got to admit that he was paid. He's got to, file some disclosure. Cornel West paid me $1 million to endorse him, or whatever. It's not illegal. So, and then he tries to say that Beyoncé was booed, which she was not. They were booing protesters, trying to drown them out, because what were protesters mad about? what me and Molly Bell were just talking about, the genocide in Gaza, which now has come to the point where the world is acknowledging it as such. And that's with a death toll officially over 50,000 and unofficially probably over 100,000. We think of all the bodies buried in the rubble that have not been counted and may never be counted. I mean, I will not go down that aisle because it's time for news, traffic, and sports. Next up, Talking Point Tuesday. You're going to want to keep it locked for that. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Football legend Deion Sanders says he's now cancer-free after undergoing surgery for bladder cancer. Sanders is urging others to get checked, noting the importance of early detection.
You have no idea how good God has been for me to be here.
Bladder cancer affects